ふうさなんか何よ So today I'm getting back to some of the reactions. Yultz has found some more interesting topics for me to check out. Last ones were pretty interesting. The last ones were pretty fun. I'm hoping today's topic is interesting as well. I'm not really sure exactly what it's about, but she did mention I will need some Japanese for this one. So anyway, you have something for me? Oh, なるほど。
純日本人でドレッドって現地で何か言われますか？自分は LA なんですけど、さすがに怖くてできないんですけど、マジでしたいです。
現地で言われますか？何を言われるの？ドレッドすんじゃねえよって。
ダメだよって。
お前言われるわけねえだろ。
言われねえ、最高だって言われるよ、お前の髪。ね。
まあね、それな、褒められたことしかないけどね。
ね。あなたは何をビビっているの？そんなにビビる必要はないわよね。
何をビビってんの？
何をビビってんの？
なんか言われたところで何だよ。
ね、どうでもいいじゃない。私はこのドレッドで生きてますって自信満々でいいじゃない。ね、かっこいいわよ。
ね、ドレッドしたからダメだっつって切られると思って、そしたら向こうが悪いから、ね、まあやりたいならやりなさい。怖いならやんなくていいよ。
Okay. 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 これ Okay. I started growing my hair out after traveling to Tanzania. Well, no, after really going full time with my business in Tanzania. When I take that back. When I stopped teaching English full time and started focusing on my business in Tanzania, I started growing my hair out. I started getting my hair braided. I started getting my hair braided. I got dreads. And it's just been a part of my life for, again, the past 4 or 5 years. And in Tanzania, they have the Maasai warriors. The Maasai warriors are kind of like the best locticians without the title of loctician in the world. I mean, they do awesome work. From braiding, dreading, the whole nine. You know, when you want your hair done, probably the best person to go to would be a Maasai warrior who's, you know, doing hair on the side or something. And so I can't say how easy it is for someone in Japan to get their hair dreaded, to get their hair braided, because I only go to one person in Sanomiya, Motomachi, and he is awesome. But he spent time in the United States. He spent time in New York, and that's where he picked up, you know, hair, being able to cut, you know, people with different hair texture, you know, such as my own, you know, African American hairstyles, and, you know, cutting, you know, he does fades, he does dreads, he does, you know, hair, and awesome dude. And most of his clients are Japanese. I mean, I'm like one of 3-4 foreigners that he's got going through his shop. And it could be more, but that I know of that he's mentioned, you know, going to his shop to get their hair braided, dreaded, to get their hair done, you know, in a similar fashion. And I mean, it's been around a lot. You hear a lot of people talking about this cultural appropriation, you know, about taking, you know, things from different cultures and using it in their own. But I think that's a new term. I say new term. It's something new to me, because it's like, you know, I mean, I used to use lemon oil in my hair to, you know, get it to, you know, bleach, you know. I used to use Clorox to get it to bleach, and this was from a different culture who, you know, people who did that. I don't know if I would be stealing or appropriating the culture. I don't know if it's anything wrong with someone who's appreciating, or I say appreciating, someone who's, I don't want to say copying, but someone who's doing something that someone who's not from their culture, their culture doing. I mean, we've got people around the world right now who identify as different things from what they were born into. You know, I mean, it's just a matter of society. If you were born into this culture, then that's what you might identify as. Or if you were born into this culture, you actually got out of your little circle and visited other circles, then you might have picked something up from that, and you might want to emulate. You might want to, you know, adopt some of those styles. It's like the world. I mean, we're a big melting pot, or I hope we are. We should be, you know. And so I find it, you know, kind of unique, you know, that, you know, these someone would feel afraid to, you know what, let me take let me go back. I take that back because when I did stop teaching English full time, that was actually the door that allowed me to, going through that door, allowed me to explore different things. I realized that in Japan, yeah, that's right. Because I think in Japan, yeah, if you look a certain way, it might be more challenging to get jobs, certain jobs. These two gentlemen that are speaking right here, for example, I can't imagine them working in a Hankyu department store as Japan is now. They've got tattoos. They're kind of, they speak in a different manner. And maybe they're just speaking this way because they're on camera. I don't know. But I don't think you would see particular this particular style of gentleman working in many department stores in Japan. You would see them working in the little pop-up shops, or you might see them working in Amerikamura or in different parts of Japan, because that's where you typically see these people work, this style working in Japan. But that's, it's changing as well. But with dreads, with different hairstyles, with adopting different cultures, it's taking a while to catch on. But I think also because it's catching on, other people are saying, "Hey, look, that's from where my people come from. What you doing?" And I think that might be catching some people off guard, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize. I don't want to offend," and I don't know if it's offending or if it's appreciating and it's showing your appreciation. Now, I did live in Hawaii, and I do remember certain tattoos, certain types of, I think maybe it's similar to Maori, I could be mistaken, but certain tattoos are supposed to be earned or given with permission from people within the culture, within the Hawaii culture. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember hearing something about certain tattoos are not just tattoos. They're like heirlooms that are passed on from someone. I don't know the specifics, but that is something that I would expect people to appreciate, to be careful and cautious of. It's really difficult. At the same time, there are some marks you probably don't want to walk around with. I mean, people go to, they get certain, teardrops. I don't, they might look cool to some people, but you might not want to walk around with teardrops on you and, get caught up in the wrong, in the wrong circle, but yeah, this is really interesting because again, everyone, you're hearing a lot of talk like this now with this cultural appropriation and I think Justin Bieber even got a little taste of it, with dreads or something, and the whitening of the skin in photos. I think the tennis player, the Japanese Naomi Osaka, she did a photo shoot and they lightened her skin, and they made her skin look lighter than it naturally is. Even recently, The Rock and his wax figure in the Madame Tussauds place in London, that doesn't look like him. I think Lil Wayne also complained that his figure doesn't look like him. So I mean, I think the image of people and how people see things, it's always going to be different. I'm sure the artist didn't mean to offend. I'm pretty sure that people who are who are adopting different cultures, I'm hoping they don't mean to offend when they do adopt certain styles. But it is something to be aware of. Some people might consider this level of this part of their culture to be sacred. I don't believe that's that way with dreadlocks. I did hear one lady who, when I was really looking into and researching, trying to figure out what am I going to do with my hair? Am I going to go full dreads or just keep braiding it? And I think one lady said something that was very interesting. She said that, well, one, don't call my hair dreadlocks. There's nothing dreadful about my hair. And I thought that was interesting, that dread has that, that dark, meaning. I consider dreads to be kind of, cool, from the pirates, but again, that's just my interpretation, and that's her interpretation. She was pretty adamant, well, first off, don't call my hair dread. My hair are not dreadlocks, they're locks. And I thought that was pretty cool. That's how she wants her hair to be looked at. That's how she wants it to be approached. That's how she wants her hair to be seen, as non-dreadful, or that's the way she interpreted dreadlocks. I don't. I mean, if you want to call them dreadlocks, great. Locks, great. Sometimes I go back and forth, to be honest with you. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. So I think it's just a point of view. Again, some people might take offense. I thought it was really pretty cool when I was in Tanzania, and I did visit Tanzania, and I did have my hair dreaded, and I got it done here in Japan, and I went there, and I got off the airplane, and they were like, "Oh, Rasta," which is pretty cool. I'm not really Rastafarian. No, I mean, maybe I got Rasta roots, but for the most part, they're like, "Oh, Rasta," and I'm like, "Oh, mambo po," I'm good. I feel like I'm fitting in, which is interesting because before I got my dreads, when I'm in Tanzania, I think 99% of the people that walked up to me, like, immediately assumed, "You're not from here, bro. Hello, how are you?" I didn't get mambo poa. It was like, "Hey, what's up? You from the UK or America?" It was like automatic. But as soon as I got my dreads, it was like it was pretty cool. Okay, now I fit in. So I thought that was really pretty interesting. So I couldn't see how another person, going to a country that's predominantly of a culture and adopting some parts of that culture, not receiving the same type of love, just like in Japan. I think most of the people who come to Japan, if you attempt to use some of the language, if you attempt to appreciate some of the culture, konnichiwa, ohayo gozaimasu, and if you reply, ohayo gozaimasu, you're gonna get a pretty positive reaction. If you're using chopsticks and you're using them like a 2-year-old would, most of the people are going to say, "Oh, arigato gozaimasu." They're going to appreciate that, and as opposed to picking up, "Can I get a fork and a knife? Don't you have a fork and a knife?" Which is okay. Forks and knives are abundantly available in Japan, but I think it's appreciated in Japan, and I was appreciated when I was in Tanzania, and this is all the way even when I was in not Monaco, even in, oh my goodness, blank. Even in Zanzibar, I was in Zanzibar during the Eid, and I think it's the fasting period, the fasting holiday. I was in Zanzibar, and even at that time, everyone's fasting during the day from sunrise to sunset. We had a taxi driver, and he's driving us around. And even at that time, I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad." And he's like, "Oh, no, brother, don't even worry. You want to go and eat." And I'm like, "We're going to go eat, but you haven't eaten since 6 a.m. And I'm like, "No, I can't do that. That's just evil." But he appreciated me saying, "Hey, look, no, we'll be good. We can, He's like, "Oh, no, And he went on to explain that even when he was a child, for kids, it was acceptable for them to, have water during the day, because they were kids. They're not used to this part of the culture, the fasting throughout the day. And I thought that was pretty interesting. He was trying to help me feel more comfortable. That was one example. I think people who are open to, people coming into the culture and trying to adapt and adjust. The same thing when I was in Dubai, and I went to Abu Dhabi. The driver, it was the Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi. It's beautiful. And I was like, "Whoa, I'm Christian. You sure it's okay for me to go up in there?" And he was like, "Oh, for sure." And I was going there to see Ferrari World. That's where the Abu Dhabi Formula One, F1 is going to be going on in another couple of months. I was going there to see Ferrari World. I'm like, "Hey, look, I'm going to go to Ferrari World. You go to the mosque. We'll link up in a minute." And he was like, "No, Yodo, you cannot come here and not come and see this mosque." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Is it okay?" He's like, "Come on, yeah, come on." And it was amazing, and it was just amazing. Take off your shoes, walk in, don't act a fool, appreciate the culture, see something new. and get something out of it, And I thought it was really, really interesting and welcoming. It was like 2 p.m., I think, tons of people. It was a Friday, so it's like, in the Christian, it's like, for me, it's like Sunday, the Friday, and it was a huge, large number of people. And it was just all love, and it was just amazing. It was really, really cool, and I can't wait to go again, And I was dressed, I think, in a Puma shirt like this or something. It's just like totally sported out, and it was cool. It was really, really cool. So I think it's really about who you run into, and unfortunately, maybe the people in this video, maybe the person ran into someone who took offense. I think I mentioned it before. There's always a 10%, and there's always going to be someone who might not see things the same way you do, and that 10%. Hopefully they don't rub you the wrong way and make you feel that uncomfortable with doing what you want to do or enjoying what you want to enjoy. But on top of that 10%, there's always a 10% that really, really love and appreciate what you're doing and how you're approaching things. So keep that in mind, These cats right here are pretty interesting. I'd love to I'd love to take these dudes to somewhere down south in Houston and see how they fit in down there in Galveston. Because the way these cats might be, we could be homies. Thank you for tuning into the channel. If you really enjoyed it, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe.